Hey, so welcome everybody. A huge welcome from Women in Business Network Ireland and Intertrade Ireland to this webinar, just to let you know a little bit about our current recruitment round for the WeGrow programme. You're also welcome and really appreciate you joining us this morning. This should be about 45 minutes, no more. And there will be an opportunity at the end to ask any questions. I know everybody always has questions about eligibility and cost and attendance and all these issues, and we will cover all of that. And I would also just say, if there's something you don't want to ask at all, we will put our emails in the chat. If Kitty, you wouldn't mind doing that some stage, put in my email, Kitty's and Emma's, and just if you want to ask anything, have a wee chat afterwards. We are more than delighted to do that. We're all a little bit hoarse. I think that there's bugs going around, and we're all there's a few croaky voices this morning, so forgive us. Emma and I were both down, and Dara actually from InterTrade. We were all down in Kildare this week running our final event with our cohort one, which Grace and Neve, who are joining the call today to talk to you all about their actual real experience of the program. So I think there was a lot of aircon. The weather was roasting. It was like 28 degrees. So I think everybody's suffering a wee bit from maybe too much talking and too much crack, you know. So yeah. So look, I'm just going to give a wee quick round robin of who's on the call who's going to talk to you, and then we'll run through the program. I'm Roisin McDermott, and I am from Women in Business, and I lead all things entrepreneurship and women in business. And just, I know a lot of the ladies maybe are from the south, and you maybe have never heard of us. So we are a social enterprise and a charity. We are going 23 years. We have 13,000 members. We have four different businesses, and it's all about women and equality for women and women opportunities. And we work with women in employment, self-employment, and women unemployed, trying to give them opportunities. So in terms of the entrepreneurship piece, we're very like Network Ireland, which Emma will tell you about in a second. And we run lots of monthly events. We run lots of annual awards and conferences and all things to try to create connections and learning for women who are either starting a business or growing a business. So that's what we're about. And I have been with Women in Business for 4 years, but I was actually one of the founders 23 years ago on a voluntary basis. So I think it's very much a passion, very much a love. We love seeing women move forward in their business and grow and develop and build amazing connections and community. Emma, do you want to tell us about yourself and Network Ireland?
Good morning, ladies. Lovely to see so many familiar faces and indeed some new ones here this morning. I am one of those people with a croaky voice, thanks to air conditioning over the last few days. So I'm here and I represent Network Ireland. I am the programme manager along with Roisin for WeGrow. I'm a member of Network Ireland for 16 years and I'm passionate about supporting women on their growth journey. Network Ireland has 17 branches nationwide. And we also have a virtual branch. So if you're not in one of the counties where we have a branch, please ensure to check out our virtual branch. Our core values are around leading, supporting and collaborating. And AIB are our national partner. In 2023, when I was national president, we had the opportunity to collaborate with Roisin from Women in Business. And that's where this all began. So I'm delighted to be here along with Roisin and Katie today to chat to you about all things WeGrow and how we can support you on your growth journey.
And I'll just invite Katie to say hello. Katie's a core part of the delivery team here. Do you want to say hello, Katie?
Yes, hello everybody. I've had myself on mute there because, as Roshan said, I've got the snuffles and the cough as well, and I'm supposed to be going on my holidays tonight, which is absolute terrible timing. So, yes, you'll have to excuse me if I sound a little bit croaky today. But yes, my name is Katie Elliott, and I am part of the enterprise team here at Women in Business. So, I joined Women in Business just over a year ago, last June. So it was my 1 year there a few weeks ago. I am just, yes, running with the WeGrow program. We've just launched our second cohort there, so which me and Emma have been heading, and it's been absolutely fab. It's been a fantastic journey, and getting to know all the women's been absolutely incredible. So if you've ever any questions about anything at all, don't hesitate to get in touch with us. That's what we're here for. We're here to support you, here to champion you, and there's no such thing as silly questions. We would hate for you to go away with unanswered questions. So, don't be afraid. Just always get in touch, messages, open the questions on this call, absolutely. But if you want to ask us like for something just one-on-one, get in touch. It's no problem anytime.
Thanks, Katie. Dara, do you want to say a wee hello here? And then I'm going to bring in your slides about the sort of all the programs, but I want to say a wee hello first of all.
Yeah, no problem. So my name is Dara Cosgrove. I'm here representing InterTrade Ireland this morning. I suppose I must be the quiet, introverted one because I think my voice is okay. I definitely don't talk as much as Roisin and Emma and Kitty. But anyway, they were working very hard, I have to say, in Kildare over the past couple of days, and we definitely couldn't deliver this programme without them. So I just want to acknowledge that up front, ladies. Great work. So basically, for those of you who don't know anything about InterTrade Ireland, we were one of the cross-border bodies that were set up under the Good Friday Agreement. And our remit is basically to promote cross-border collaboration and connections, particularly from a business point of view. A lot of our traditional work would have been around promoting cross-border trade, so sales support and also innovation. But in the last couple of years, we also have moved more into the entrepreneurship space, particularly women's entrepreneurship. We also offer a funding advisory service for early stage companies and those who are looking to kind of attract equity into their business as well. But we can talk about that another day. We basically do lots of things, so do please get in touch and reach out because we are very responsive. We might have kind of anonymous email addresses, but somebody will always get back to you within 24 or 48 hours, basically. So anyway, it's good to meet you all. I'm kind of melting here in my home office, but we can move on from here. Thank you.
Thanks, Dara. And I'm going to come back to you in just a second and get you to, I'll share some slides and get you to talk about the range of programs. So, and also just to say on the call, I'll not get them to do introductions now. The most interesting part of this call is probably going to hear from two of our participants who have sadly just finished their cohort, which they were on from the start of the year. And so we have Grace here. And Grace is in the north in Ballymoney, if anybody knows it, and she has an amazing gym which is focused on women and has just gone through a massive expansion. She is looking at how she grows her business in terms of online or additional premises in the north and south. And then we also have Niamh Shaw on, who some of you may know because she's half famous, really. She's been on the TV and the Late Late Show and the Tommy Tiernan and all sorts. And Niamh is an engineer and a scientist, and she's all really wanting to educate people on space and how to dream big and and how to educate young people and all of that about space and space adventures. So Emma's going to have a chat with them later. So that's really where you'll learn just what the program feels like for them, and we'll hear their experience. So just to go on here on my slides, what we're going to do is parts of this very wee quick session is Dara's just going to explain the overall shared island here. Then I'm going to talk about the program mechanics and what it looks like, what it feels like, the dates and all of that and all those wee issues. And then Dara's just going to run through the application because you can get put off by applications from government bodies, but there is information they have to capture. So she's just going to go through some of that so that the form is maybe a bit less scary for you and doesn't maybe take just as long. And then Emma will do the lovely bit of chatting to our past participants. Well, they're past, they're sort of still on the programme. I haven't completely finished our participants and she'll talk about that. So, Dara, do you just want to explain so people understand the framework of Shared Island?
Of course, yeah. So before Roisin gets into WeGrow, I think it's just really useful to give you some context around where the programme sits and how it's funded. So basically, the WeGrow programme is part of the Shared Island Fund, which is a Government of Ireland initiative which is focused on building stronger economic connections and collaboration right across the island of Ireland. So back in, I think it was February 2024, I should say I've actually only joined InterTrade Ireland in the last 3 months, so this is all historic information for me. But back in February 2024, €30 million was allocated to establish a new Shared Island enterprise scheme, and it's delivered in partnership by InterTrade Ireland, Invest Northern Ireland and Enterprise Ireland. And it basically supports businesses across 3 key areas. There's women's entrepreneurship, clustering, and sustainable enterprise. And within that, InterTrade Ireland, as I said in my introduction, leads on entrepreneurship, but we also do the clustering. And we work closely with partners like Women in Business and Network Ireland and Tech Founder and Awaken Angels, and others, basically to develop and deliver the women's entrepreneurship supports. So the programs that you'll hear a little bit about now, basically were shaped through earlier pilot activity, and they're, as I say, delivered by wonderful partners. So, you'll be seeing more of Roisin and Emma than you'll probably see of me. I tend to kind of come along at the start of the program to meet somebody, kind of pop in maybe along midway just to see how you're all getting on. And then I have the pleasure of coming along and seeing you all graduate and flourish and having done wonderful things at the end of the 6 months. So basically, as I say, InterTrade Ireland manages and supports the programmes overall, but we work very closely with Roisin and Emma on an ongoing basis, taking on board feedback to ensure that the programmes basically are meeting the needs of all the participants and that they're delivering the impact that we want to get. So in terms of what's available to you, basically, there's a very clear pathway depending on what stage your business is at. So the first programme you'll see there on the slide is called We Build. It's basically focused on innovation-led or tech-enabled businesses who are at an earlier stage. So, they're kind of slightly beyond idea, but they are kind of like testing and validating and prototyping. And, we're giving them kind of support and mentoring on, using new technology like Gen AI and that kind of stuff. And it's delivered by Tech Founders. WeGrow, which we're focusing on today, is all about strategy and structured growth and getting the foundations of your business right. But I'll not go into that in too much detail because Emma and Roisin are better placed to do that than I am because they're closer to it. WeScale basically supports more established businesses who are looking to accelerate their growth, but more about accessing investment. So, you'll have already gone through the WeGrow journey where you've got your foundations in place, and you're ready and able to kind of take that next step where you're trying to get your investment. And then we've a new program which actually just launched, I think it was last week or the week before, called WeVenture. It's more about supporting women researchers or those in academia who haven't maybe considered exploring commercial opportunities. So that's like a totally new venture for us. So, I mean, basically across all of these, the aim is the same. It's about giving women the support, the structure and the network basically to help move your business forward, and having the confidence to do that. So I think that's it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, super. Okay. So yeah, I'm sure there's lots of questions in your head. So I suppose who is WeGrow for? So we think the person who benefits most out of this has already had significant traction in the market, has had great growth, is well established, knows what you're doing, you know your business, you know what you're doing. You may have a few different businesses going on. You may have a significant turnover already, but you feel you could do more. You feel there's more growth there for you. You're not currently looking for external investment. If that is the case, then WeScale focuses all about the investment piece. We do cover it for your awareness and your understanding, but if that's your real focus, then that might be the one that you look at, which is currently open. We are more about, are your right foundations in place for growth? Do you have a strategy? Do you know what you want to focus on? Sometimes we find people coming on and they're working on the 3 different businesses, but then actually being on the program, they realize actually, one of those is taking all my energy and not making any money, and I'm going to switch and focus on something else. So there's a lot of analysis we do. So we're really trying to help you create a strategy. And what we do is we have at the very start a full day on strategy, at the very end a full day on strategy, and it's called the Growth Sprint, and it's been developed by a company called XP Innovates. And then in the middle, in all those sessions, you deep dive down to look at your sales, your marketing, your leadership, your product, your AI, tendering, exporting, finance. And so you dig deep on those, and then we come back to a final day in the strategy. But also we have this lovely online tool now, the Growth Sprint, that is being used. So you're constantly jumping onto it online and adding bits and taking away bits and editing. And I think that sometimes what people can do is if you go for that growth and strategy, and say you already have a 200 grand turnover, but you want to be at the million in 5 years' time, you got to get everything right. Like it's like the foundations in your house. It's like you have you can't go and build a second floor on foundations that were built for a bungalow. you've got to get them right, or there just can be too many cracks and too much stress and you feel overwhelmed, or there's, it's just not good. So that's what we're really trying to make you in a really good place for the accelerated growth, if that's what you want. Um, so I'll show you here the content, and the content of this program was really designed what we felt the needs were. It's over 6 months. We don't like it to be too labor intensive because we realize you're juggling a business, you're maybe juggling families and other roles. We all wear many hats. So we space them out over a nice long schedule. So the cohort one there, we started in February and it's sort of ending in June, but we'll be doing we tidy up things over the summer as well. We have 4 2-day events. They are really, really important. You cannot miss those. And the dates are all on the website. I'll share them very quickly now. But they are where everybody gels. I think they are before in our last one, our participants sort of said by the second event, you really see a bit of a shift starting to happen. By the third event, everybody is so open and sharing. People really can be really vulnerable in this, and because they really dig deep even on personal issues and what they want in their business. So it is quite a journey. It is a really confidential space, and we expect everybody to respect that of each other. But those 4 2-day events are really where the magic happens, in my opinion, because it doesn't actually matter what the topic is. It's the important bit for us is all the conversations. Everything we do, our way of doing things is you might have a specialist facilitator talking for a little bit, but then you'll have self-reflection work and then you'll have group discussion. And that's our kind of rhythm. Because to be honest, we would often say it's in those group chats the best learning is, the best sharing, because someone else will say, "Oh, I've already done that. Oh, I'm already in Avoca or the Kilkenny shop, or I've already am exporting to America. This is how you get through customs and excise." So that's the beauty, to be honest, and it's us creating those conversations and creating those connections. One of the things that I would say is what is really strong about us is that we have about 30 different facilitators, mentors, or volunteers involved in supporting you on this journey in this program, between the specialist facilitators, volunteer mentors, paid mentors, guest speakers, role models who come in. But there's always two of us, one from Network Ireland and one from Women in Business, are in every single session. So we are kind of the glue that pulls it all together. We're there if something's not working for you. We're there if you're having a tricky moment. And I think that's really important. That we're kind of, I suppose we call ourselves, we're the mummies of the group. So we're there to look after you, and we get to know you all. And I would say that myself, Katie, and Emma are all so mad passionate. We all run businesses. Emma does run her own business as well. Katie's run a business. I ran a business for 14 years. So we're not administrators. We are in the thick of it with you, and we love it. And I think that is really important. And the other wee elements of there as well are we do have some online learning workshops. There are some of those you might feel like that's not really relevant to me. I have to go to that. And like there's one we do on tendering. And if you are a consumer business selling a product to consumers, that's not going to be very relevant. So there are some that online ones that if it's not relevant to you, it's okay you don't attend. And again, they're all delivered by specialists. But the in-person is a no-brainer. So if you look at dates and go, I'm away on holidays or whatever, then I would say we do have a cohort 3 and cohort 4. We look at the next cohort. We will have a cohort 5 and 6. We won a tender to deliver 6. We're hoping that we'll be able to draw down additional funding to maybe around a 7 or an 8. So if it's not right for you now, that's okay. There are other opportunities. And also I will say, I'm kind of jumping all over the place here, but I will say as well, while it's in my head, if you don't get a place, if you apply and don't get a place, and we'll give you feedback if you want feedback. Now, it could be your business is too locally focused. So until you're at a stage where you're going to look outside your local market, and Darrell will talk more about eligibility, but don't be afraid to reapply again. I think there's a funny thing with women who kind of get a bit sensitive. I got rejected, so I'm not applying to that again. I'm not good enough. But actually, in our first cohort with the application process, it was very difficult to get on if you were from Northern Ireland because we had loads of applications. And so, but then in the second one, the numbers from Northern Ireland were so low, it was easier to get on. So it's a funny thing, but there was lots of good people I knew were eligible and right, and they didn't apply because their noses were out of joint. It's like it could take you 4 times, apply, get feedback, and it might not be right for you. But don't be sensitive about it. We are very sensitive as women. And we go through a very, very thorough scoring process. Sometimes it's just, oh my goodness, you're an amazing business, but you just didn't actually write enough or tell us enough, or you didn't show off enough about your achievements. You didn't tell us enough about your potential all island or export wise. So, online learning champion peer groups are where we have a lovely collaboration with EY. They have a program called the Winning Women program, and it is for women who have achieved a turnover of at least 1 million. So they've all scaled, okay? And we get, for each cohort, we get 5 volunteers from their program who sit in with little groups of 5 people, and they do these online sort of brainstorming sessions. It's just time for you to chat and brainstorm about your business. And that's been a really lovely. It comes a bit later on because we like to get to know you. We usually try to match you with people who have similar issues, and it's sort of 3 online sessions. Then we have one-to-one mentoring. That is usually later on as well, and it's only a short amount of mentoring. It's only usually about 5 to 6 hours, but it is with facilitators from the group or a few other people we have, and that's just to try to bring it all together because you can feel overwhelmed. You learn so much, you hear so much, and it tries to bring it all together to get it into actions for you. We have an online forum, yeah, with a WhatsApp group. There's plenty of chat in there. There's often Friday wins shared. There's people share if they go into events, or there's a bit of carpooling to go to some of our events, and that's really nice. And then we have an alumni that we're creating. We haven't done anything yet. If you come in cohort 3, you'll be invited to our first event, which is going to be around October, November time. We're just planning that. So because we plan to have so many groups, there's 25 women on each group. So we want to then, you're going to get to know your own group well, but we also want you to meet other people, and we're building a community. So ultimately through this current tender, there'll be 150 women, but we also ran 2 previous pilots. So we have 60 women from that. So we are going to invite them all, and they will sort of like little mini festival-y conference things we're going to do on those. So that's just a really nice add-on. That's just very quickly, that's the dates of the cohort 3. So cohort 3 starts in October. The deadline's early September, but put it in as soon as you can in terms of your application, because we will start to read them through the summer when we've time. So that would be great. And that runs right through to sort of March, April time. And then the next cohort, it doesn't start to February, which does seem a bit away, but to be honest, the time will fly. And I suppose we're just kind of getting ahead of ourselves here to allow. Sometimes when you look at these things, you kind of go, I'm just not ready for that. There's a few things I need to do, or there's some things happen in your personal life, you're moving house or whatever, or you're getting married or who knows. And that would give you a wee bit more time to plan. And bear in mind as well, there are 8 days where you're leaving your business and you will not be running your business. And we ask you to switch off the phones and focus on the day. So you have to be able to step out of your business. So if you're very founder led and you're a bit of a one-man band, then you might need to prepare and plan for this. So cohort 4 might suit you better. I'm not sure in our application form we have anything where you can write that. But if there's just, you could make a wee note if you find a wee space. Otherwise, drop us a wee email and just say, look, I actually can't do cohort 3, because that just helps us when we're trying to make those decisions. And that's the dates of cohort 4. They're all on the Intertrade Ireland website, Women in Business and Network Ireland websites. Intertrade Ireland is the place you have to go to apply for the programme, and then we will receive your applications and we will run a very thorough scoring process. And please do remember, Dara's going to talk now through eligibility and just some of the forms, but please do remember that the questions about your name, address, and where you live and all, none of that's marked. But the questions were about what's your achievements to date, what are you trying to achieve, what are your challenges. We're not marking the actual question, but we have a criteria and we read all those and we use those to mark the questions. If you are an amazing business and in an answer you write, my challenges are marketing and finance, like you're not giving us much to mark. So people can be perfect for the program and not get a place because you haven't actually taken your time. Also, please be very careful about AI. We all love it. We all encourage it, but be careful about it in using these answers, because we get these really wordy answers and I don't even understand what you're saying. Sorry if I'm stupid, but please do. There's not many words. It's not long. Just do write it from the heart. Like I've had people before actually who've written, I'm a bit stuck at the minute. AI's never going to write that for you. And actually that rang a bell because we can really see the value that's going to bring to the person. So be honest, be yourself, and show us how you will fit this. So I'm going to bring on to Dara for the hard bit, explaining the form. So where's Dara? Dara, over to you.
I'm here. Thank you, Roisin. I was going to say, everybody, you can probably tell from Roisin, she talks 90 to the dozen how passionate and enthusiastic she is about this programme. And just to say, as I say, I did witness it in Kildare over the last couple of days, having the pleasure and the privilege of attending the residential, because it really brought the programme to life for me. And I really kind of understand myself much more what it's about, and the benefits from just seeing, the friendships that have been made with the women, the encouragement that Roisin and Emma give, the expert advice. It's just like phenomenal. So I would just encourage you, put a bit of time and investment into doing your application, because it'll pay dividends. So as I say, I have the boring bit to do, because you'll also hear from the two lovely women founders later. But just to say, obviously with me being new to InterTrade Ireland, and I was asked to come along to the webinar today and talk through the application, and I thought, I've never been through the application process. I better go and have a look at it myself and see what it's like, because I wasn't involved in the design of it or anything like that. That would have been my colleagues, Mel and Elaine. And the one thing that struck me was it is actually fairly straightforward. So there's nothing really to fear, nothing to be afraid of. It's not too daunting. You'll probably see when you go onto our website, you have to register for an account, and that'll allow you don't have to complete the application all in one go. You can kind of save it as you go and come back to it, and just take your time over submitting it. The first thing that you'll see are the eligibility criteria questions. So we're basically asking you, questions about where you're based. Are you based on the island of Ireland? Yes or no, because obviously the programme's only available to businesses that are based either in Northern Ireland or Ireland. I can't even see what the other eligibility criteria questions are, because there's a bit small here, but can you enlarge that a wee bit for me? Thank you. Yeah. So does your business have fewer than 250 employees? Most of the businesses that are applying for WeGrow will not be anywhere near that. So that shouldn't be, too difficult for you. Your annual turnover. Now, this is the one where I think people may become a bit unstuck. So to be eligible for the programme, you must have a minimum turnover of £75,000 sterling or €90,000. So maybe for some people who are on the call this morning, WeGrow mightn't be the right fit at this point, particularly if you're earlier on your journey and you don't meet that kind of threshold. And really all I would say is don't get disheartened at that, because basically the criteria is there to make sure that the programme is the right fit for your business at the particular stage that it's at, but it doesn't mean that there isn't support available to you. And I mentioned earlier that we have other partners who are part of the Shared Island programme, and that's Enterprise Ireland and Invest Northern Ireland. So basically, if your business is based in Ireland, a really good starting point is the National Enterprise Hub from Enterprise Ireland. And I'll maybe pop a link to that in the chat maybe at the end. But basically, it's a central signposting service. So you can go to them with where you are in your business, and then they'll basically point you to the most relevant supports to you, whether that's your local enterprise office or other programs that suit the stage that your business is at. And likewise in Northern Ireland, there's support and advice available through Invest Northern Ireland. So they would have things like Go Succeed, which is delivered through the your local council, which is really for pre-start and early stage businesses. There's also a programme called Ambition to Grow, which supports businesses as they begin to build their capability and prepare for growth. And that's particularly if they're not working with Invest, if you're not already working with Invest Northern Ireland. And then just to kind of reinforce Roisin's point earlier there that, WeGrow runs in cohorts. So, cohort one's just finished, we're in the middle of cohort two. So, if your business develops to the point where you meet this criteria in the future, we would absolutely encourage you to apply again at that stage. So even if the time's not right now, there is plenty of support out there for you. So that's kind of the first point. So don't be put off by the eligibility criteria questions are there for a reason. Can we move on then to the next slide? Yeah, so as Roisin said, and again, if you just make this big for me, because it's very hard for me to see on my screen. Apologies. That's great. So just move back to the previous one. I think it was just like your contact information and stuff like that.
Sorry, Dara, what do
Just
you
the
want me to do?
previous slide.
Oh,
Thanks.
sorry. It's
It's,
when I do this zooming in and out,
when you're
and
doing a zoom in
yeah,
and
it's
out, it
kind of
doesn't
then
like it.
throwing
Yeah.
the system here. It's kind of
Okay.
hold on.
Just, well, then don't worry about the size.
Yeah,
As I said, the
just
first
company
thing I'd
details and
say
stuff.
is
It's all
the
fine.
application form is very straightforward. There's basically
Yeah, it
four
just
simple.
slide through. Think it's probably the de minimis thing is probably the hardest bit, is it?
Yeah, just go back again. I was just going to say just to that first page of the contact information. Yeah, so
Yeah,
just as I said, you'll see there at the top of the screen above contact information, there's basically four simple steps. So, the initial information is very straightforward. It's just your kind of your name and address, where your business is based, your contact details, some company information. There's a bit of, you can move on then, some financial information.
yeah,
And
financial
so,
percentage.
kind of your turnover and all of that. Yeah. Now, there is, some people get a bit scared when we ask about de minimis, and I hadn't a clue even what de minimis was myself. I had to kind of do a little bit of research on this. So at its very simplest, you can think of it as a small grant rule. So basically, when governments provide funding, there are normally strict rules to make sure that no business is getting an unfair advantage. But smaller amounts of support, like this program, are treated differently, and that's basically what de minimis refers to. So you probably realize, looking at it, the term is, it's a Latin term, and it basically means small things, and it's used just because this type of funding is considered basically too small to distort any kind of competition in the market. And I suppose I'm kind of conscious we're in the summer and the sunshine and people are heading off on their holidays, but I think a helpful way to think about it is a bit like your baggage allowance when you're flying. So every bag is recorded, and even though most people never get close to the baggage limit, public funding, I suppose, kind of works in a similar way. It's just a way of the government kind of keeping a simple running total of who's getting what, just to make sure that nobody's getting too much and other people aren't losing out. So do you want to just maybe move on to the next page?
Yeah,
That's
it. Yeah,
So basically, oh no, back to that previous slide with the light bulb. Sorry. Yeah, thank you. So that's just as I said, what it is. So just to be kind of really clear, it's not just cash grants that are recorded. It would also include things like any funding or mentoring support, vouchers that you might have got, or any training where a value has been assigned. So basically, if something falls under those rules, the organisation that provided it to you, whether that's Invest Northern Ireland Enterprise or Ireland, your local enterprise office, they will have told you what the value of that support is that you've got already, and they'll be able to confirm the value of that to you. So either if you've had some kind of letter of offer or terms of reference document from them, and even if you go back and look at that and you can't find it, you can always just get in contact with them and say, look, I'm applying for this WeGrow program and I need to know the value of, so that's in. So basically, in practice, really, you're just recording the information that you've already been given. So yeah, thank you. That's the right slide there. So you'll see that the rules can vary slightly depending on your business, and that's because obviously we're operating across the island under different systems, different governments, and the requirements depend on where your business is based. And also you'll see from the slide there the type of business, whether you're a service business or whether you're manufacturing or trading.
Yeah, Dara, just to simplify this, it's like, because people would come to us and say, oh, I was on your program, what's it worth? And I go, that was $1.5 grand, $2 grand. I have never met anybody who's actually had this amount of funding. So it generally won't apply to anybody unless you've been really lucky. So it's just, it doesn't flood you and you just have to put the wee bit of data in. So I'm just conscious, Dara, Grace has to leave in 10 minutes because somebody's sick and she has to run a session. So have we much more here, or maybe come back to this?
No, I'm nearly done. So it was just basically say what you were saying. Most people are never going to meet that €300,000 threshold. You don't need to interpret the rules yourself. Come back to us and ask us if you have any questions. And basically all you need to do is say, go back over the last 3 years, gather any offer letters that you've had for any support, total them and include them in your application. That is really all you need to do. And the main reason you need to do that is that we have a legal obligation on behalf of the government to do that, but also to ensure that you don't ever find yourself in a position where you're having to pay back money that you've received because you actually have reached the threshold. And that's obviously saying your business is done really phenomenally
Yeah,
well.
really
If you get
well.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So,
yeah,
so that's basically it.
that's it. And then
Yeah,
Darren,
and
those
sorry, just very
questions.
simply on
Sorry.
that confirmation page. So I think one
Oh
thing that
yeah.
I would say is tick that box where it says that you would like to be informed about other supports that are relevant to you. A lot of the time people don't tick that box, to receive kind of marketing communications. But basically, if you tick the box, it means you're in InterTrade Ireland system. And you're going to find out about all the other supports that might be relevant to you, whether it's other sales opportunities, innovation opportunities, any funding calls, any events that we're running. And basically, as your business grows, your needs are going to change and different supports may be relevant at different stages. So it's really just a useful way of kind of keeping that visibility without you having to go looking for it. So I would say definitely do tick that box. You can opt out at any time, but it just means that you won't miss any opportunities that could be a good fit for your business further down the line.
Okay, Dara, thanks very much. Anybody has any problems, just let us know. And if you do submit your application and then you think down the line, I'm not happy with it, you can submit it again and we just delete your first one. So there's no big deal. So look, I'm just conscious of time because Grace has to step in and run a workshop. So look, a huge welcome to our two speakers today. And I am gonna just stop sharing my screen and we'll just pin you on the screen. Katie, would you mind pinning Grace and Neve and Emma? So Emma's just going to have a wee chat with the guys to because I'm sure you'd rather hear from them.
Great, thank you, Roisin. Thanks, Dara, for all your explanations there as well. It's so lovely to see so many diverse businesses here this morning, and I suppose that's one of the beauties of the WeGrow program, that there's, when people start out, there's different industries, different experiences and ambition, but all one common purpose, and that is investing in themselves and growth, and that desire to learn more. And today I'm delighted to introduce you to Grace and Neve, although Roisin gave them a lovely introduction at the beginning. Grace, I'm going to start with yourself. So Grace is from Forge Female Fitness, based in the north. And I recall from our first onboarding session, Grace, to having a chat with you in Kildare there as we finished up on WeGrow. Can you tell us about your experience? What really stood out for you along the programme, and what's your overall message to others here listening today about that may be interested in signing up?
I think if you're interested in creating a network of women all across Ireland who will be your biggest champions, then you would be absolutely foolish to not join. You've got amazing facilitators. You've got Katie, or you've got Roisin, Emma, Diane, everybody that came in. Edward was absolutely amazing. I think for me, when I came on board and had that chat with Emma at the start, Forge was doing really well, but I wasn't sure where to go to. And because it's a bricks and mortar, you have so many options of how do you scale the business. And I think for me, I've kind of come away from the program with a very big list of things I need to do, which is great. Because if you don't know, you don't know, but also a very clear direction of where is my business going. And I think one of the big takeaways was it can't just be solely reliant on the founder. And most of you are probably the same as me, where it's very founder led. But now with a team of four and we need another team member, soon to be five, it can't be founder led. And I have to have the systems and processes in place. And I have a very clear direction on how to do that. I've met some amazing girls. Like we have our own WhatsApp group now. We're chatting. Sorry, Roshi and Emma. But we have like our own group as well, and we've become such good friends. Somebody from the program rang me yesterday. Roshi and Emma will have to ask about Claude. Yeah. How do I do something in Claude if anybody's used it? And it's like I was just out of a meeting, took the call, we had a chat for 10 or 15 minutes, and now we're going to meet for coffee. And you just have this amazing group that will be your champions, but also that they will know things that you don't know. And you have people there on your side to ask. You have amazing facilitators. Like I have such a clear direction now of where the business is going. And it was very much like, will I do this? Will I do this? But I know where we're going now in the next 12 months. And money can't buy that sort of clarity. And for this to be free, essentially, to us and fully funded, I've done lots of programs and mentorships over the last 2 years especially. And we've all said to Roisin and Emma and everybody, this has been the best program we've had, by far. And Roisin and Emma especially are absolutely amazing. They're absolutely amazing. They're so positive. They're so honest. They're so genuine. They give over and above of their time. And the education that you will take from this, you could not put a price on it.
Oh, Grace, thank you so much for those lovely kind words. But more importantly, there's two things I really want to pick up on there. Is one is about that peer-to-peer piece, that you mentioned, and that all-island opportunity. And for those across the Zoom, while Grace's business is Forge Female Fitness, she became the guru on all things AI within the group. And we would see, everyone around Grace at the various Connect sessions where she was supporting them, and none of her time was, she always gave so generously of her time, and that is the beauty of the program. But just back to the clarity piece, Grace, and the one-to-one mentoring, and I know you've been using Growth Sprint, and it's been lovely to see your journey, and you articulating so clearly that now you have clarity. You turned up each and every time and fully immersed yourself in the program. How important, I know that's a thing that we say that people need to turn up, but for you, what do you really believe the difference was for you in those in-person days?
I'm sure like Neve would say the same. Like you can't expect to get something out of a program if you don't invest in it, and you have to invest in it with yourself and just turning up, but also in wanting to be a part of the group and wanting to help others and wanting to be open. I think you'll all have an idea of where your business is and what it does and where it's going to, but you need to be really open to be challenged on that. I had a very clear idea in my mind that I was going to franchise the business, and 30 minutes with Diane told me that that was not the best place for me to go. So, you might have a very clear idea right now of where your business is going, but be prepared to be challenged on that. And it's that challenge that you actually need, because for most of us, we've never had outside mentoring, we've never been challenged. It's just the stuff we think is going to be good to do. But that challenge will be very welcome. But I think immerse yourself in all aspects of this. Turn up. I wasn't always able to get to the webinars just because we had a massive expansion. We physically moved the business right in the middle, so I did miss a couple of Zooms, but I never missed an in-person. And when you're there, speak to people you don't know, get to know them, ask them about their business themselves, be prepared to want to help, because and Neve will tell you the same thing. If you give out all of that positivity, and Roisin and Emma the same, they give out so much to us, then you will get that back, 10 times over. And, we will absolutely, all of us, whether it's at the alumni, even apart from the alumni, we'll all meet up after. But I think the big thing I would say is invest in the program and you will get so much out of it. And I've been in mentorships and done programs before, and there's nothing that has compared to this. And in regards to how to get the most out of the program itself, be prepared to be challenged on what you think you know and where you think things are going. And that challenge is going to be so welcome. And some of the biggest tidbits you'll get is actually from your peers.
Yes.
There's loads I learned that wasn't from a facilitator. And some of the one-to-ones with your peers, they will ask you questions and give you advice that you're kind of going, am I stupid? Why did I not think of that? But it's because they're seeing your business from an external point of view. But if you don't apply, you will absolutely do yourself a disservice.
Oh, thank you very much, Grace. And it is true. It gives you the opportunity to stand back and look at your business through a different lens. And, you have given it all. And it's been such a pleasure to get to know you across the 6 months and the journey. So for anyone who hasn't followed Forge Female Fitness, whether you're north or south, definitely check Grace out. She is a powerhouse in our industry and on all things AI as well. Grace, I know your time is against you, so thank you for joining us. And I think everyone around the Zoom, I hope you enjoyed those few words from Grace.
Get applying.
Get applying. Thank you, Grace.
See ya.
Now we're kindly going to move over to our pocket rocket, Dr. Neve Shaw. Neve, it's such a pleasure to have you here this morning. I mean, the last 6 months, you've been on a phenomenal journey, and every time I open up LinkedIn or a piece of press, there you are. Niamh, from starting the journey to finishing in Kildare this week, can you tell those around the Zoom a little bit about your experience of WeGrow and the best bits for you?
Yeah, look, it was just fantastic. I knew I needed help, but I just felt so disorganized, and I don't know if the rest of the ladies on the call feel the same. It felt to me that everybody else had a plan and they had a structure, and they talk about processes and stuff, and like I was like, oh my gosh, I'm all over the shop, and I knew I needed help. I sort of feel like what I do, I knew I wanted to do an awful lot more. For what I do, I just need to get my name out there more, and I needed to kind of get in more opportunities. And it was, and I just felt completely overwhelmed because I just didn't have a plan or a structure. And I'm quite introverted. I know people don't would think that if you're a speaker and stuff that you're extrovert. I'm not. If I have a job in a room, I can talk, but actually me going into a room, I'm just really, really shy around new people. And from the very beginning, I felt that I was in a room of people that were really, really kind of warm and interested and genuinely cared. And that's not just Emma and Roisin. It was also the different people that they got in to do some of the training. They were all really invested in us from the start. And I came away every time with like pages of like, oh, CRM, somebody, I use this, I use this. And like what Grace was saying, you're learning from each other, because there are some people, like Grace is amazing. She's so organized, and she knew so much about AI, like she taught us so much. But then somebody else over here has a kind of a product business, and they would talk about a CRM, and I'd be like, what? And you're all exchanging different things that you've kind of learned along the way. So in addition to the training that you're getting in the room, you're also like learning an awful lot from each other. And every single in-person, the 2 day spread, I would go away and I would just have like reams of things that I needed to do. And of course, you can't do it overnight, but I kind of want to do everything all at once. And there's just so much useful information. And for people who've got a business background, I think there's still loads to learn, but I hadn't had a business background. So every single thing I just absorbed, and every single session was incredible. And like what Emma said, you can get emotional. Like the last session we did with Elaine. What one was that, Emma? The one, it was about burnout.
Yeah, was that the one at Loan, or was that the one?
Flown, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so we were talking about leadership. So that was with Linda,
Linda,
on leadership.
Linda, that really hit a nerve for me. And I found myself getting really upset, and I didn't even know it was coming from, because she was asking you to dig deep and be really honest with yourself about, you know, where are you at, and how are you coping? Because these are our babies, right? And like these businesses are more than just trying to make money. Like your business is it's a kind of a reflection on you, and you work so hard, and sometimes you're just exhausted and you really want to get to the other side. So there's even that level of care. And like what Grace said, at the start I was like, I'm just going to go in, and then I'm just going to go up to my room, and because I was so shy. But very quickly, the WhatsApp group, and you realize that these people are here to help, and you'll identify a couple of people that you'll get extremely close with. So there's two in the group, and we were encouraged to form little trios, and we formed a trio, and oh my God, we are so tight now. Like one of them came to our Network Ireland Awards, and I was there for her, and I invited somebody else to come with me to a speaking event, and so it gives in more ways than you realize. But it is a lot of work. There is homework, and you get out what you put in. And so, like what Grace said, when you're there, like resist the temptation to get on your phone. Just step away from your inbox, because if you're the founder of your business, somebody is going to be looking for you. You're going to miss gold in the room if you go down that direction. Now, there was one or two times I had to take a call, but I always missed stuff. I was gutted, and I missed one of the online ones, and I'm still regretting it. I'm like, oh, it was on the grants and the funding, but there was just nothing I could do.
And
So every single session, like focus.
yeah, Neve, just on the homework piece, we tend to look at that, as the investment piece of your
Yeah.
time. So it's actually working on your business rather than homework, and each of the sessions are interconnected using the growth sprint. One thing that made me smile about you, Neve, on Tuesday in NACE, so we do as part of the WeGrow program, we do reflection time and then group work or whatever. And Neve was diligently working away, and it came to one of the sessions. She was like, I don't have time to talk. I'm working on my 30, 60, 90-day action plan. So, you weren't wasting a moment of the time of being there and not afraid to ask questions. And I would say that's one of the real key pieces as well, Neve, I've seen from you. You were always engaging and
Yeah.
and albeit that you were quieter, there was every voice in the room was heard.
Absolutely. And you were very good at that, Roisin and Emma. Like you'd identify people that are, that they are quiet, and you would always make sure that everybody has a voice. And I think that's really important, because I would be somebody that would speak up, and but I'm also aware that it's not just about me. And then just to echo the growth sprint, the reason why I was like that was it took me an awful long time to focus on what part of my business was I actually trying to grow. And you start in the first session with Diane with the growth sprint, and you think but over the course of those 6 months, it got much more specific and much more hands-on. So that only really came together in the mentoring sessions. And then that last day, I was like, I am determined to finish the first exercise so I can actually work out a plan. And would you know, I built my website since I finished it, and I'm putting in a proposal for something else. And that's all out of the list of things that I said I was going to do that came out of the growth sprint.
Well done, Neve. And I suppose just listening to you and Grace, and I know myself and Oisin and Katie from working across the programme, we really see the impact, and that's the beauty, and that's what we love, working with each of you. So you come in as a cohort, but we actually really care about each individual to ensuring that they get what they want out of the programme as well. So thank you for sharing your story, Neve. I know you've been on a stage for We Build as well, and that's, the beautiful thing about all the programmes across the shared island. So we'll keep an eye on Neve Shaw from Dream Big, and if you haven't followed her, give her a follow there as well, and see what she's up to, and we'll keep her accountable on her growth journey, and hear from her at the alumni. So that's it from our two speakers. Roisin, back over to you.
Thanks, Emma. So, folks, it's just if you wanted to ask any questions. So, say a few questions about WeBuild and WeScale. So, WeScale is currently recruiting. They had a webinar, I think, earlier in the week. It's already happened, but they should have recorded it. It should be made available. So, maybe if you look on Awaken Hub's website, I know we'll put the link of this on our websites afterwards. And I know WeBuild is not currently recruiting. They will be recruiting again in the autumn. Would anybody like to ask a question? Yeah, Jill Jacobs, do you want to just ask?
I have a question about WeVenture.
Okay, so that will be for Dara. I'm just going to keep this about WeGrow because
Okay.
I'm just conscious. So do
I
you want
thought
to
they were
say
all parts of the same thing. They're separate kind of
they're separate programs? So we are only have the contract to deliver WeGrow, where Dara from Intertrade oversees them all. So she
and
could answer that directly with you. Maybe should Dara, if you want to share your email, and Jill can get in
okay.
touch with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I put the we email in the group chat. So it's basically
Yeah.
we@intertradeireland.com. So if you want to just reach out to us afterwards, because it's actually Meg, my colleague, that manages that, and I'll make sure Meg gets in contact with you then, Jill.
Thank you.
Okay, question from Andrea Dermody. Andrea, do you want to speak?
Yeah, thank you, Roisin. And really great briefing. And Neve, everything you said really resonated for me. People think you're extroverted, but in fact, you're, in my business as well, I'm actually quite introverted and find things like this quite challenging. I wanted to ask Roisin, I had already put in an application because I was really watching for the dates. I'm feeling now I need to redo it or at least have another look at it now that I understand the program better. But if you have you any tips for what makes a really good application? I mean, you've touched on it already, and definitely the personal part of it that's coming across very clearly. But any tips on how to really think about the application, or things that might sort of
Yeah.
help?
So, Andrea, the key thing is this program was designed through Shared Island and managed by InterTrade. It is focused on the all island piece or an export. So if you, I don't know your business, but if you're locally focused, you would need to have something, other elements. Sometimes a locally focused person is working on some sort of, a product or system or an online element. So we have to see, it can't just be locally focused. We have to see something that could be all island or beyond. It's always good to show what you've achieved to date and show, let us see your passion for being on it and what you might feel you might get out of it, because we're always trying to imagine, is this a fit? Is this person going to get value out of it? And that's really important for us. So showing achievements, showing what you want to get out of it, but you must show that you're not a locally focused business. And nothing wrong with a locally focused business at all, but that's just not what this funding was directed to do. So we have to work within those parameters.
And Andrea, just to follow
Yeah.
on that, I would say, be your authentic self on your application form.
Yeah.
Get as much of you as a human on your form, so we can really see what the impact this program is going to have on you and your business in terms of a growth trajectory. Is that okay?
Brilliant.
Okay, take a quick.
Thank you both.
Yeah,
Thank you.
brilliant. Julie, you have your hand up there, and then I'll come to Mitch. Julie.
Good morning, everyone. I apologise if the fans are interfering, but they are not being turned off for any circumstance whatsoever. My question is, for the WeGrow programme, can you have grown too much? So I suppose we're at quite a pinch point in our business where we want to grow. We are all island and we want to grow further. But I suppose my question is, yes, we meet the criteria in terms of the turnover, but is it a case that perhaps we've outgrown WeGrow and maybe we should be looking at the next level? Or
well, we just had a business there, McNichol Caravans, on the programme, and the two ladies got so much out of it. They have 7 caravan parks. They're in Scotland, they're all over Ireland. They've I don't know, several million turnover, and they found it so useful because very often, but they're not looking for investment, so WeScale wasn't right for them. But very often in a business, you're growing, and you've more to achieve. But you lack that strategic plan, or there's gaps. So they actually were, while they had an amazing business, we're going, oh my goodness, we actually don't have a CRM system and we don't use AI. And they're strong, very strong in other things like team and HR. But I think sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And also, even very strong, successful businesses often don't make the time to step out and analyze and review and exchange and learn. And, the feel of this is very different if you've done, because they themselves had recently done an MBA on the family business program. They said it was completely different. Because that's kind of certificate led and, assignment led. This is very practical.
Okay. I just say there as well, Julie, on that, in terms of, and Eve alluded to it earlier on, Edward, he was one of our facilitators all around exporting. So it's the opportunity to actually get conversations with those expert-led facilitators that actually can have some light bulb moments, regardless of what stage you're at. So I hope that helps as well.
Yeah, and we have had a number of ladies who've gone on from our program now to the Winning Women program, which is the million turnover. And we've had someone who came on with a 300 grand turnover and has now got about a 3.5 million turnover. And then there's businesses who have come on and they've an 80 grand turnover and they're trying to achieve next year 150 grand turnover. So it's very varied, but you find even within that, like, turnover levels don't really matter that much. So often you find these amazing turnovers, but your profit margins are so low, and the aim for you is to try to increase them because it's more about your bottom line than your top line. So yeah. Mitch, sorry, you've had your hand up a while and it didn't get to you. Mitch, do you want to ask a question? Mitch, are you there? Oh yeah.
She's on mute.
You're on mute, Mitch. Unmute yourself.
Sorry, I don't know why that's coming up as Mitch. My name's Toya.
Oh, Toya. Hi, Toya.
It is Toya Mitchell, so I'm presuming that's what. Yeah, no, I'm just after actually looking there because I had already I submitted the application. I didn't realize I was ahead of the game there. So I was just having a look through it there, but I'm just after finding it. So I'd say it's okay. I was just going to ask, would I resubmit after this or leave the one in?
Well, you can. I suppose I haven't looked at your application, but I suppose if You've used the word count and you haven't given us 6-word answers or anything like that in the line because
Yeah.
you've told us as much as you possibly can about your business and what you want to
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, perfect.
And you're
And the
not
other question was just about the do you see the way about the funding and stuff like that that you said you have to send in proof of what you got before?
oh, no, we don't seek proof. It's just that
Oh,
you have to fill in a wee form
yeah,
online to say, say it was 10,000 or say it was 100,000. You
yeah,
just have to
yeah,
add up the different sources of funding support you've had.
yeah.
And yeah, it's as long as you're not over the 350.
No, it was just a couple of programs, but I did put that into the application.
Yeah, look, and we're not looking for proof. So look, if
Yeah.
you're a few hundred out, it doesn't matter. It's just to get a
Yeah.
rough idea,
Okay, that's grand. Perfect. Thank you.
That's fine. Let me see, is there any other hands up? I'm just flicking my pages of attendees here.
No, I can't see
Any
any.
other? Okay, I'm going to I'll turn the recording. Kitty, do you want to just return the recording off in case anybody wants to ask anything else?
That's no problem.
And does anybody want to ask anything with the recording off?